Have you ever watched something so strange, so unforgettable, that you later wondered if it ever really existed? Some anime episodes did air once and then disappeared without a trace. They sparked rumors, rewrites, and frantic fan hunts through old VHS recordings. These weren't myths. They were real broadcasts that studios tried to erase or simply forgot. But the internet never forgets, right? Let's dig into the episodes that aired once, then slipped straight into legend. Pokémon. Den-O Senshi Porygon, 1997. It started like any other day in the Pokémon world until it changed television forever. In December of 1997, Japanese audiences tuned in for episode 38 of the original Pokémon series. Within minutes, the screen began flashing in rapid red and blue lights during a battle sequence. What happened next became history. Hundreds of viewers reportedly experienced health problems after the broadcast. Ambulances filled Tokyo streets. The show was instantly pulled from rotation. The episode, titled Den-O Senshi Porygon, or Electric Soldier Porygon, was intended to introduce a new Pokémon, but instead of fame, it earned infamy. The incident was so severe it caused Pokémon to go on a 4-month hiatus. When the show returned, it included brightness warnings that are still used today. What's wild is that Porygon, the Pokémon central to the episode, was blamed even though Pikachu triggered the flashing effect. The character was quietly pushed aside in later episodes, while Pikachu remained the face of the franchise. For years, the episode became a myth, whispered among fans until digital copies surfaced decades later. But to this day, it has never been re-aired anywhere in the world. The show survived. The episode didn't. A single broadcast and gone forever. Pokémon. Team Rocket vs. Team Plasma. 1911 planned, never fully released. This one was supposed to be huge, the long-awaited face-off between the two most notorious organizations in Pokémon history. In early 2011, Pokémon Black and White teased a 2-part special titled Team Rocket vs. Team Plasma. Promotional posters were everywhere. Trailers promised a cinematic battle between Giovanni and N-fans marked the date on their calendars. But then reality hit. Just days before the episodes were scheduled to air, Japan was struck by a devastating natural disaster. The imagery in those episodes' explosions, collapsing buildings, and dark skies felt too raw to broadcast. Out of respect, TV Tokyo immediately pulled both parts. The episodes were never re-aired, never released on home video, and never added to streaming. What's most fascinating is that production was already complete. Storyboards, preview clips, and even a teaser commercial survived. Fans later reconstructed the episodes using stills and dialogue scripts that leaked online. It became one of the most famous examples of lost anime, not because of censorship or controversy, but because timing made it impossible to show. Today, you can find fragments, voice lines, animation cuts, and promotional stills, but the full version remains sealed in studio vaults. It's an episode that technically never aired, but existed long enough to enter pop culture memory. An invisible piece of Pokémon history, preserved only in screenshots and rumors. Cyborg Kuro-chan, The Missing Final Episodes, 1999. Imagine watching your favorite Saturday morning show, then realizing it never properly ended. That's what happened with Cyborg Kuro-chan, the zany late 90s anime about a house cat turned mechanical hero. It ran for 66 episodes in Japan, but here's the strange part. The final 4 episodes, 61 through 64, were never broadcast on TV. No official reason was ever given. Some say the show's time slot got canceled for a network change. Others claim ratings dipped too low. But fans quickly noticed the story jumped straight from an intense cliffhanger to a cheerful farewell episode that made no sense in context. Over time, those missing chapters became the stuff of urban legend. Bootleg VHS tapes surfaced in online auctions, suggesting that the episodes were completed but shelved before airing. Years later, fragments from those episodes appeared in rerun packages overseas, confirming they had been animated after all. Cyborg Kuro-chan might not have the fame of Pokémon or Dragon Ball, but for fans who grew up with it, those lost episodes represent unfinished childhood memories. To this day, even with DVDs and re-releases, the final arc is absent, as if the studio quietly wanted viewers to remember the laughter, not the ending. Sometimes, disappearing doesn't mean being forgotten. It means being frozen in time, mid-punchline. Kirby, right back at ya. Shell-shocked, early 2000s. Kirby might be the pinkest, most harmless hero in anime history. But one episode of Kirby, right back at ya, wasn't so cute. Titled Shell-shocked, it aired briefly in the early 2000s on American television before vanishing completely. The story centered on a town-wide panic over a mysterious sea creature that caused mass hysteria, a little too realistic for comfort at the time. The episode aired once in English but never re-aired, dubbed into other languages, or released officially. Some believe it was a rights issue tied to the design of the monster, while others think it was quietly removed for tone. It leaned darker than the show's usual goofy antics. The odd thing is that screenshots and dialogue scripts still exist, proving it did air. Fans began digging through old VHS recordings, hoping someone taped the broadcast. Over the years, clips appeared online, confirming its existence, though the full version remains rare. Nintendo and 4Kids never commented, treating it as just another number in the episode list. Despite the mystery, Kirby, right back at ya, kept its cheerful reputation, and new fans often don't realize an entire episode is missing. But for those who watched it live, that night sticks out like a glitch in memory, an episode that felt real, looked real, and then disappeared. Proof that even the most harmless shows can have a shadow hiding behind all that pink fluff. One Piece. Long Ring, Longland Arc Recap Special, 2015. You'd think One Piece had seen it all: filler arcs, missing episodes, remasters. But there's one special that quietly vanished like it fell into the Grand Line itself. In 2015, Fuji TV aired a One Piece recap special covering the Long Ring Longland arc, a storyline fans jokingly call one of the series' quirkiest detours. The episode reimagined events using updated animation and color correction. And then it was gone. After that one broadcast, the recap disappeared from every official source. It's not on Blu-ray, not in streaming catalogs, and not even archived in Toei's own listings. Fans who caught it during the initial airing swear it existed, complete with new dialogue and extended gags. Yet there's no trace left except for screenshots and timestamps from fan-recorded TV captures floating around Japanese forums. Speculation varies wildly. Some claim licensing issues tied to the episode's music cues led to its erasure. Others think it was a quiet test reel for Toei's modern animation pipeline, a sort of trial that wasn't meant to remain public. Whatever the reason, the studio has never commented. What's ironic is that Long Ring Longland was once the most disliked arc in One Piece's early run. So when the remake vanished, it turned from joke material into collector's gold. In a fandom where everything gets archived, this episode is the white whale proof that even a pirate saga can lose its treasure. Hamtaro. The Warm Scarf Capade, early 2000s. Of all the anime that could have a lost episode, you wouldn't expect Hamtaro. The show was pure wholesomeness, tiny hamsters with giant hearts, and no hint of darkness. Yet, one episode, The Warm Scarf Capade, aired only once in Japan before quietly vanishing. The plot seemed simple enough. Hamtaro and his friends help a sick hamster by knitting a scarf before winter arrives. But what made it vanish was tone. Toward the end, the story turned unusually somber, touching on themes of illness and loss. It wasn't dark by modern standards, but compared to the usual sugary tone of Hamtaro, it hit too hard. Fans who caught it live recall a melancholy ending and an instrumental theme never heard again. When reruns began, the episode was missing from rotation. DVD collections skipped straight over its production number, and official archives list it only as unreleased. Years later, grainy stills surfaced on Japanese message boards confirming the episode's existence. A few international viewers even reported seeing a dubbed version on early morning television before it vanished globally. It's since become one of anime's gentlest mysteries, proof that even something as innocent as Hamtaro had a story too emotional to revisit. Dr. Slump, the vanishing English dub pilot, 1980s. Before Dragon Ball took over the world, Akira Toriyama's first big hit was Dr. Slump, a surreal comedy about a robot girl and her eccentric inventor. In the early 1980s, an American distributor produced a test dub for U.S. television. It aired once in a limited regional broadcast as a trial. Then it was gone lost to time and contract confusion. This pilot was the first attempt to bring Toriyama's humor overseas, but it hit a wall. Viewers didn't know what to make of its slapstick tone and bizarre gags. Instead of the warm welcome Dragon Ball later received, Dr. Slump was quietly shelved. The dub's existence was confirmed only through an industry catalog from the era. For years, collectors searched for the tape, turning up promotional stills, but never the actual footage. Then, decades later, a fan unearthed a low-quality VHS segment showing snippets from the pilot, proving it wasn't a myth. It's one of those rare, blink-and-you-miss-it pieces of anime history, a broadcast meant to test the waters, but instead sank without a ripple. Ironically, the humor that confused early audiences now feels right at home in modern anime culture. What was once considered too weird ended up being ahead of its time. Mermaid Melody Peachy, Peachy Pitch. The Missing Dub Episodes, 2000s. When Mermaid Melody Peachy Peachy Pitch hit screens in the early 2000s, it was an instant favorite among fans of magical girl anime. Think glitter, songs, and pastel oceans. But what most people don't realize is that several dubbed episodes, especially from the show's second season, aired once, then vanished completely. The English adaptation was handled by multiple distributors, including one European branch that released the dub under different titles. Some episodes were broadcast during the weekend slots in select regions, but were never rebroadcast. Legal mix-ups over the show's music rights, which were heavily tied to pop-style insert songs, likely caused the disappearance. Fans recorded a few segments off TV, and that's all that remains. The official soundtrack versions exist, but the scenes that used them? Gone. Entire story arcs, especially those wrapping up character rivalries, remain untranslated and unavailable in any modern release. It's a case of an anime lost not because of controversy or tragedy, but because of paperwork. For nostalgic fans, Mermaid Melody remains a shining example of how something colorful and innocent can vanish under layers of legal confusion. Somewhere out there, VHS tapes hold the last surviving proof, tiny underwater pop concerts locked in static. Cutie Honey, 2004 live-action adaptation. Now, technically not a traditional episode, but Cutie Honey's 2004 live-action series aired a special episode that was broadcast once and then disappeared completely from syndication. The show reimagined the classic character as a modern-day vigilante with bright visuals and over-the-top camp. The missing episode reportedly pushed the show's tone too far into parody. It included an exaggerated comedic battle sequence that some local broadcasters found too silly for late-night programming. The result? The episode aired once in Tokyo and was immediately pulled from reruns. For years, it didn't appear on any home release. Fans who attended limited screenings confirmed the footage existed, but the studio's Blu-ray edition skipped it entirely, labeling the gap as Episode X. Only low-quality fan recordings and promotional trailers preserve fragments of the lost broadcast. What's ironic is that Cutie Honey was built on chaos, style, and bold humor. The missing episode was everything the show stood for, and yet it became its ghost. In the world of anime, sometimes the most vibrant stories vanish, not in darkness, but in laughter that echoes just once. Case closed. Episode 1, The Great Detective, Turn Small, 2016. At first glance, this one doesn't seem lost at all. It's a high-budget remake of the first Case Closed episode made to celebrate the show's 20th anniversary. But here's the twist. The original broadcast, version that aired in Japan in 2016, has never been seen again in its complete form. This extended special reintroduced Shinichi Kudo's transformation with brand new animation and darker tone. The version that aired was nearly 2 hours long and featured several extended character scenes that were later trimmed from all international and streaming releases. Fans who saw the full-length version on TV that night noticed subtle but powerful additions. New angles, different dialogue, and even alternate background scores. Why it disappeared depends on who you ask. Some think it was simply shortened for syndication. Others believe legal disputes over one song cue in the ending prevented rebroadcast. Whatever the cause, the version streaming today isn't what aired originally. For longtime fans, this missing cut feels like déjà vu, a series that's all about mystery, now hiding one of its own. Collectors still search for a complete digital rip of the original airing. Some say they found recordings stored on old DVRs, while others claim that those versions have been overwritten by now. It's poetic. Really, Case Closed began with a detective solving riddles, and decades later, the show itself became one. Pokémon, a fishing connoisseur in a fishy competition. 2011. Few series have had as many lost episodes as Pokémon, and this one, meant to air in the black and white era, is a perfect example of an episode that aired and then quietly vanished from circulation. Originally broadcast in Japan in the spring of 2011, A Fishing Connoisseur in a Fishy Competition was meant to be a lighthearted story focusing on Seelan, one of Ash's traveling companions. But timing is everything. The episode's plot involved coastal towns, large waves, and collapsing scenery visuals that hit far too close to home just weeks after Japan's devastating earthquake and tsunami. The episode aired once in certain regions before being immediately pulled and scrubbed from reruns. It was never dubbed, never added to DVD collections, and remains missing even on Japanese streaming platforms. Clips survived only because fans recorded them off-air and uploaded fragments before takedowns began. What's haunting is how ordinary it was, not a major event or special, just a cheerful filler that suddenly became too painful to air. To this day, the Pokémon Company keeps it out of official circulation, making it one of the rarest episodes in the entire franchise. For a show that's been broadcast in over 100 countries, it's wild to think there are still ghosts in its timeline. Some of these episodes vanished because of timing, others because of tone, and some because the world simply wasn't ready for them. But they all remind us of something powerful, that even the most vibrant shows have shadows behind them. Somewhere on an old tape or hard drive, these moments still exist, waiting to be rediscovered. Which of these do you wish you could see restored? Drop your thoughts below, and maybe, just maybe, the next rediscovery starts with you.